Welcome to Business Math. This is Monday, February 10th, and today we are going to attack the world of statistics. One of my favorite books about statistics, and it's really old, it's not very thick, it's not a very thick book, but it is on the extra credit book list, and that is How to Lie with Statistics. So in fact, let's see, I don't even know if that book is available in audio. It might not be because, let's go to audible.com. This is where I get my audio books. And you can get 2 free books, but actually to get your 2 free books, do this instead, okay? Go to like Google first, and then type in two free Audible books, or audio books, either one, it'll get you there. And you'll get 2 free audiobooks special offer. Okay? So it'll take you right here, and then you'll get 2 free downloads. Now you will have to cancel your membership within 30 days, but here's the good news. When you do cancel your membership, they do save your 2 audiobooks in the cloud for you. Also, any books that you buy at a very, very nice discount, you get to keep those books as well. And they have pretty big discounts at audible.com if you're a member. Then you can go ahead and quit. Now I'm a member, so let's see if I can show you what's going on here. So, here's my library. I have approximately 130 books. Oh, see, then it has a surprise $4.95 sale, so you get these once in a while. So you can take, what I do is I take a look at the list, and I see if there's anything that has to do with, of course, my passion right now is finance and investing, and trading of stock options, and the actual psychology of trading, also the studying greatness. So like this book over here about Genghis, that could be interesting, that could be relevant for me. See, could be, you know. Excuse me. So here are all the books that I can now get for $4.95. So there's a whole bunch of them. So if they don't interest me, no big deal. But anyway, then you can browse for the book. Like here, the one that I'm looking for is How to Lie with Statistics. And this may not be available. Yeah. And I think the reason that this never went Audible, went to audible.com, is because it does have some charts and graphs in it and so forth, and that's an integral part of the book. So I think that's the reason why it got left out. But anyway, great book. Great book. So that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at statistics in this chapter. Now, some of the things about statistics, giving you the overview of the chapter, there are certain principles of statistics that are just tremendously important, more than the calculation of the particular statistic. And one of those that we'll hit in our third section is about standard deviation. And the thing that you need to know about standard deviation, I mean, virtually nobody in real life calculates standard deviation by hand. Anybody that needs a standard deviation, they'll go ahead and calculate it by using a program of some sort, but they won't be using, they won't do it with what I call the poke yourself in the eye with a sharp stick method. So we're going to be talking about what in the world is this useful for. So, because any modern calculator can calculate statistics, and so that's the standard deviation. And so that's one of the reasons why we're not going to get too excited about it. I may have you poke yourself in the eye with a sharp stick once, just to make sure, with fairly simple numbers. I'm not going to do it I'm not going to have you find the standard deviation of 10,000 numbers by hand or anything like that, or even 100. But that's one of the concept of the standard deviation. I'm going to present it probably all week this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because it's a pretty important statistic. We're not going to talk about it formally until the third session, which will be Friday. But really what it is most things in life, not all, most things in life have a nice bell-shaped curve to them. So for example, height does, okay? So if this is a representation across the x-axis of height, frequency, well, let's use, we're going to use height as across the x-axis. So the x-axis here is going to equal height in inches, okay? Height in inches. And the y is going to be the frequency, okay? So this is going to equal frequency. In other words, how many people? Okay. Now, this, of course, this depends on what country you're in, right? Who do you think has taller people? The people in North Korea, the average height of people in North Korea, or the average height of people in South Korea? Who do you think, Rachel?
South Korea.
South Korea has taller people. I can't even remember how I asked the question. Is that how I asked it, Rachel?
Yeah, I think so.
South Korea has taller people than North Korea. By the way, why do you think, in fact, it's very significant. I mean, they're both Koreans. And the line between North Korea and South Korea is very arbitrary. So why do you think that the South Koreans are so much taller than the North Koreans? Jonty, what do you think?
It's because of the food.
Yeah. It's amazing what nutrition will do. Okay? That is amazing what nutrition will do. And nutrition means that the North Koreans they don't get very good nutrition in North Korea. North Korea, it's a communist country. The country is, you can go on Netflix, and there's some very interesting documentaries about North Korea. Very, very fascinating. You'll absolutely shake your head when you see watch a documentary about North Korea. That's one country I plan on never going to, by the way. That's on my do not go to this country list. But it's so the country basically just it's a communist country. From each according to his, what is it? What's the Communist Manifesto? From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. And oh, it's supposed to be such a wonderful land to live in communism, where you take from the rich, give to the poor, and make sure everybody has the same amount. Well, in reality, communist stuff doesn't work very well, does it? But that's an example of where a particular country, but it's still a bell-shaped curve for North Korea, still a bell-shaped curve for South Korea. Now, let's see, I probably should know this, but so Google is so cool that we can just go type in average height of American man. There you go. So here we go. The average height of an American man. This is around the world. And it looks like 5'10". 5'10" is the average height and the average height of a female is 5'4.5". So anyway, 5'10". Well, let's go back and let's convert that into inches. Okay, let's see. How many inches are there in 5'10"? Courtney, how many inches is that? A little louder, please. I'll turn up my volume too.
70.
70, thank you. So this right in here is 70 inches. Right there is 70 inches. That's for the, let's just do American males right now, okay? Oh, I heard one of the, I was watching a little Olympics over the weekend, and I heard one of the announcers make a gigantic faux pas when he was describing the ladies' snowboard event. Oh, this was, I wonder if the media will pick up on this, but it was gigantic. I mean, it was the truth, but still in our society you can get in trouble for telling the truth. So anyway, what he said was this lady snowboarder did a fantastic run. I mean, it was just fantastic. And then he said, this was such a great run. This was about as good as a run of a male snowboarder 10 or 5 or 10 years ago. Whoops. Jonte, that was an oops, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he was just speaking, going through all of the, his big experience of Olympics and everything else. So he says, yeah, that was such a fantastic run by this young lady that it was almost the same as a male snowboarder 5 or 10 years ago. I wonder if he'll get fired over that. Anyway, I hope not. But anyway, the average, the point of telling you that is, average is relative, isn't it? Average is relative. See, I just found out I'm above average height, 5'6". Of females. The average height of a female was 5'4.5", see? So, but I'm below average height. Now the next thing that we need to know in statistics, so we like to know average. Average, by the way, has multiple meanings. We're going to find that out in section 2. We're going to find that out on Wednesday. This is kind of the overview today of statistics. So when we say average, there's different kinds of averages. The average that we're talking about right here is the mean. That means if you add up all of the height of American males, and then divide by the number of American males, you get 70 inches. That's the height. Okay? There's another big area of statistics. I mean, is it possible to have a massive height measuring campaign of American males? In fact, let me ask the question like this. Do you think, when they came up with this average of 5'10", which is 70 inches, do you think they measured every male in the United States of America? What do you think, Wyatt?
No, there's no way.
No, they didn't. I agree with you, Wyatt. They did not. They didn't measure. How did they do it, Courtney?
Random sampling.
Random sampling. This is such an awesome technique. Now, you got to be careful how you pick your sample. Okay. You got to be really careful how you pick your sample. So let's say for our sample to get average height in America, we walk into a locker room, an NBA locker room. Right down there, we're visiting the Oklahoma Thunder, and it turns out I have a few connections, and see, I know someone that knows someone that would let me in, right, to the NBA locker room. So I decide that I'm going to take that as my sample to measure the height of the average American male. Do you think that is a random sample, Courtney?
No.
No, that's not even. Why not, Jonte? That's not a random sample.
Because they're ridiculously tall.
Absolutely. I love that. They are ridiculously tall. I mean, I would be so short in that locker room, I'd be smelling navels, right? I wouldn't even. I'd have to look up to see armpits, right? So that would not be a random sample. That would not be a random sample. Okay? Just like it would not be a random sample if I went to the Kentucky Derby locker room of the jockeys, you know, the horse jockeys at the Kentucky Derby. If I went into that locker room, because I mean, what do you think the average height of an American male jockey is? Like if I did that, went into the Kentucky Derby's locker room, what do you think, Wyatt?
Oh, a little over 5 foot, maybe 5
Yeah,
more.
probably a little over 5 foot. In fact, when I was playing in the national championship of table tennis my senior year of college, I won the 5-state regional championship of Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa. So I went to the nationals. Table tennis is a game where that's where a lot of short people play. The game of table tennis, by the way, is not about reach. It's all about quickness, all right? And being very close down to the ball so you can see the ball well and so forth. So anyway, average height at the table tennis championships when I was a senior in college, wow, I was at least average. I maybe was even taller than average. But you get the point about random sample. You've got to be very careful about random sample, don't you? On anything, when you're collecting data, you need to be very careful about random sample. See, nowadays, well, for many years, they've tried to collect random sample from a telephone interview, okay? Now, that's clearly not a random sample, but you have to tell me why. Your home telephone now, doing a random sample, and now you can think now, you can think 10 years ago, you can think 20 years ago, you can think 30 years ago, you can think even 40 years ago. A random sample of telephone interviews, it's not a random sample. Why not, Rachel?
I think because random sample means that you just pull from the list. But 25, if you're going to do a random sample, that's not random sampling because you're going straight down the list.
right, I'll take that for an answer. 2 points there. Okay. Why is that? And I didn't ask the question very clearly. But if I wanted a random sample of Americans, okay, I'm claiming that a random sample of Americans is different than a random sample of Americans with telephones. Courtney, explain, please.
Because not very many people have telephones anymore.
Okay, yes, it's so funny because this is the way it's come full circle. Way back, telephones weren't very common. Now, you know I'm old, right? I am so old. How old are you, Dr. G? The phone was a box on the wall with a thing coming out of it like this, and a receiver you pick up and hold to your ear like this, and it had a crank on it. And there were like, 8 of us on the same line, and so everybody had a different ring. You'd hear the phone ring for everybody. And so ours was 4 longs and 3 shorts. So when somebody would call us, they would crank it 4 long times and then 3 shorts. Then you pick up the phone. Well, anyway, there were a lot of people when I was a kid that didn't even have a phone. We felt pretty privileged to even have a phone. So way back when I was a kid, telephone was a horrible way to get a random sample of Americans because not very many people had telephones. Okay? Then, now we fast forward to today, and Courtney, you're exactly right again. I mean, think about it in our culture. Who has a home phone anymore? Now, or maybe a better question is, do you think I have a home phone? Shay is absent. Let's go to Wyatt. You think I have a home phone, Wyatt?
Yes.
See, you just insulted me, Wyatt. Minus 8,000 points.
Well, I have a home phone because it came on the
okay.
internet.
I don't feel so badly then, Wyatt. Because usually the only people that have home phones are old people, right? I mean, if I did a survey of all my classes and find out who has a home phone, really most of us just have cell phones. Now, granted, it's been fairly recent, but my wife and I said, hey, this is ridiculous. We don't need a home phone. I have unlimited minutes on my cell phone. She has unlimited minutes on her cell phone. We don't need it. We don't need a home phone anymore. And in fact, this is something, you're going to learn something today. Do you know how to create a bogus real phone number? This is important stuff. Raise your hand if you know how to create a bogus real phone number. John Tay does. Awesome. All right. Well, let me show you. This is really important stuff, by the way. See, I don't like giving out my cell phone number on the internet. So I have created. My son taught me this. So I'm, I'm not as cool as you might think, Rachel. All right. So just
Whatever.
But anyway, Google phone. All right, Google phone. No, it's called Google Voice. Sorry. I can't even remember. Google Voice. This is so cool. My son taught me about this. So you go to Google Voice. This doesn't cost any money either. He knew I would latch onto that because I'm so dang cheap. But Google Voice, you can create a bogus phone. Well, it's a real phone number. I have a real phone number. That's why it almost sounds funny because I said a bogus real phone number. Wow, that's interesting. Google Voice is so busy this morning, nobody can get there. Well, anyway, my bogus real phone number wow, that's interesting. I can't write on here now. Let's see if I can type on here. Oh, I got to do this. Sorry. All right. My bogus. Oh, isn't that fascinating? Let's see if I can type on here. All right. It's don't try to call this number because I don't check this number. all right? But when I have to put a phone number on someplace on the internet, whatever, that's the phone number I put on there. And it's an actual real phone number. If you call it, it'll say, you know, it'll sound like an answering service for me or something like that. And these are actually phone numbers, and some people like it because you can direct all of your numbers to this one number, by the way, if you want to. And it has voicemail, and it has, you know, anything, but I don't like to give out my cell phone number on the internet, because then you start getting these trash phone calls. All right? Well, anyway, let's see. For some reason, it's not, Google Voice isn't coming up. But anyway, that's something that you can go look up later. It's pretty cool. Go ahead and investigate it. Well, anyway, we're talking about random samples. Now, the concept of random sample is huge. This is a way bigger concept than how to poke yourself in the eye with a sharp stick and finding, like, the standard deviation by hand. Is having the judgment to know, wait a minute, was this a random sample or not? Okay? Very, very, because you've got to be so careful if it was a random sample. So there's things like, because then you'll end up with these crazy results. For example, all right, did you know that if you're a smoker, you have a bigger chance of dying in a motorcycle accident? See what a crazy result you can get with statistics. That if you're a smoker, your chances of dying in a motorcycle accident are huge compared to non-smokers. Now, hopefully, some of you are saying, well, what in the world does smoking have to do with riding a motorcycle? Okay, Wyatt, I'll give you a shot at this one here. What in the world is the connection?
I have no idea.
I know, it's a tough one. Jonte, you want to take a shot?
Okay, well, see, you have the Hells Angels, and they have Harleys, and they like to smoke while they ride their Harley.
You got it, pretty much, Jonte. Is that
Good smoke when you're riding a motorcycle.
motorcycles are risk takers. Here's kind of like the bottom line of it. Motorcycle, especially if I even went to motorcycles that never wear a helmet. You know, if I can even extend that. Because the idea is that you got risk takers. Motorcycles are usually more risk takers. Well, a risk taker doesn't really, I mean, a person that smokes is usually more of a risk taker than someone that doesn't smoke. So, right off the bat, if you did a survey of smokers or motorcycle riders or whatever, the frequency of smoking is higher among people that ride motorcycles. It doesn't mean that one causes the other. This is another huge concept in statistics. It's the concept of correlation versus cause and effect. Now, just because two things are highly correlated, that doesn't mean one causes the other. That doesn't mean smoking causes motorcycle deaths, or motorcycle deaths causes someone, you know, or when you ride a motorcycle, you all of a sudden get an urge to smoke. Bang! Gotta have one. I just bought a motorcycle. I gotta start smoking. No, that doesn't mean that at all. Okay? So you gotta be very careful when you jump to conclusions. For example, did you know that people that use credit cards have better dental health than people that don't use credit cards? That's crazy. Does credit card use cause you to brush your teeth, Courtney? No. You see, there's no causational factor there at all. You have what's called the third variable. Now that's maybe a tough one. You got to think about that one. See, the obviously, use of a credit card doesn't cause one to have better dental health. That doesn't do that at all. Does anybody want to guess what the connection there is? What's the connection? This is important stuff when it comes to statistics. Anybody want to take a guess? Jonte, you did a good job. Okay, here's the question. The question is, why is it that people that use credit cards have better dental health?
Oh, simple, because when they pay their copay, they just say, here's the card.
That's a good guess. I love it. I love it. Anybody else want to take a shot?
Because they brush their teeth as much as they use their card.
That's a good guess. Love it. Love it. They use their credit card to get their food out of their teeth, maybe, huh? No, okay, keep going. Courtney, you're up to bat. Take a shot, Courtney. It's a tough one. It is. It's tough. That's okay. No zeros today. It's socioeconomic. In other words, some dirt poor person that A, either has no credit, B, has totally ruined their credit, C, you get the point, they don't have any credit card, right? Right? I mean, this is sad to say. In fact, this is why I don't stop at this gas station. When I come back to Enid from Alva, I on purpose don't stop at this one gas station right down here because, and I feel sorry for these people. I probably would do the same thing if I were in their same position. But you got these poor toothless people lined up buying a lottery ticket. Okay? They don't have credit cards. They can't get a credit card. A, they don't have any credit. B, if they did once had credit, it's probably totally destroyed by now. So it's straight economics. And the point is, credit card use doesn't cause good dental health. You've got a whole another variable called socioeconomic, status in our society. People with credit cards generally, not always, but generally have people of high socioeconomic status generally have a credit card. Not always. And people in our culture, when someone smiles, you can tell if they're rich or poor. Really, can't you? I mean, I feel sorry for those people who just it's one of the things that's way down there on the list of taking care of yourself, right? I mean, you got, dental health is way down here, tattoos is up here, smoking is up here, cable TV is way up there, right? But anyway, it's not a priority. And so that's why, in fact, one of our widows that we help from the widow's purse, she went and had that free dental care done in Enid. Now, she got up at about 4:30 in the morning, went to the Enid Expo Center, stood in line for approximately 12 hours, and then went and got her dental work done for free. All right? But the point is, it's not a random sample, all right? I hope we got the point. Now, in Alva, I think you're going to have to mute it. Because then when I call on Jonte, you'll have to punch it back in. Because that air system there just gives off a lot of sound. Well, anyway. So, back to average, mean, so forth. Okay, let's erase that up here. Random sample, they didn't measure every male American height. No way. The standard deviation is how far spread out these scores are. So in fact, if we could actually look up the standard deviation of, let's say, standard deviation height of American man. Let's just do that. In fact, if I just go, I probably better spell it out. Standard deviation height of American men. Let's see. The standard deviation will tell us how far the how far are the heights spread out. In other words, your standard answer, oh, this one is interesting. It said 69.1 inches. Of course, it said, all right, standard deviation. Oh, it looks like it's 2.8 inches. So let's call it 3 inches, okay? Now that means if a standard deviation of 3 inches, that means if I go this way, this is 73 inches here, and this way over here would be 67 inches over here. What this means, you're going to find out in this chapter that approximately 68% of American men, in other words, 34% in that area right in here, 34% in this area right in here, 68% of the men are between 67 inches tall and 73 inches tall. That's what that means. It's how spread out the height is in inches. Now another concept, that's the concept we're going to talk about in section 3. Another huge concept that we need to talk about, okay, we've talked about these huge concepts. One of them is random sample. Huge concept of actually correlation doesn't mean cause and effect. These are huge concepts, by the way. In fact, you might want to write those down. Huge concepts when it comes to statistics. Random sample, that concept is huge. You might want to write that down. What a random sample is. It's actually very difficult to get a random sample anymore. It's very difficult to get one. Random sample, that's important. Another one is that about correlation. It doesn't mean cause and effect. Okay? One of my, way back when I took psychology as an undergrad, this is an example that's been around for years. Did you know that when ice cream sales go up, the incidence of rape goes up? Did you know that? Raise your hand if you knew that. Nobody knew that, huh? Now that's a tough one. For starters, do you think ice cream causes rape? Jonte, what do you think?
I've never heard something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Ice cream doesn't cause rape, does it? That's ridiculous. So what do you think the connection is? Wyatt, what do you think the connection is? Between when ice cream sales go up, boom, rape increases. Courtney, you got an idea? It's a tough one again.
They think that people out for ice cream?
Okay, that's a good guess. I like the guess. It's related to weather. Right now. I mean, this morning driving across town, it was like 16 degrees or whatever. I mean, the rapists, they are not out. In fact, I bet you they didn't buy a whole lot of ice cream this morning. Nobody bought a whole lot of ice cream this morning. In fact, at noon, it would be fun to see, but I bet you even the drive-thrus at McDonald's and so forth. Now, me, I love ice cream, so it doesn't matter if it's cold out or not. But anyway. But, you know, you want a hot cup of chocolate or coffee or something. You don't want to, buy some ice cream. So it's related to weather. when you get really cold weather, all crime goes down. All crime goes down. Robbery goes down, burglary goes down, rape goes down. Shoot, people don't even want to get in a fight when it's cold. Just leave me alone. You know? So that's the connection. Really important stuff. That's, again, about correlation. So, on Wednesday, we're going to talk more about the mean, median, mode, the difference of the averages, because there, if you have a sample size that is not huge, even a sample size of 1,000 people, you can really mess up the mean. Remember, the mean is add them up. So if you had 1,000 people in Enid and we wanted to do their net worth, for example, you would add up all their net worth and then divide by 1,000. That's the mean. Well, the mean is subject to very extreme pieces of data. For example, if Harold Hamm happened to be visiting in town, he's worth about $10 billion. You talk about messing up the mean. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday. Okay? Here's another one we're going to have to talk about later because I only have about 7 minutes left. But these are huge concepts. Random sample, the concept of random sample, huge concept. Concept of correlation doesn't mean cause and effect, huge concept. Averages, you got the mean, the median, and the mode. The median is the middle score. That's good for reporting housing, the cost of housing. That's good for reporting average net worth, use median. It's good for reporting average income. Median is good for that. We'll go over why on Wednesday. I don't have time right now. But another huge concept. This is so huge. There's a lot of people that have studied some mathematics, and they don't really have a good grasp on this last concept that I'm going to give you, which is huge. And I don't have time to talk about it today, but we're going to write it down. I'll come back to it later. It's the concept of the bell-shaped curve. The bell-shaped curve. Not everything follows the nice bell-shaped curve. So that concept, it's a huge concept of the bell-shaped curve. And you need to realize there's some things like height follows the bell-shaped curve. Weight follows the bell-shaped curve. IQ follows the bell-shaped curve. Net worth does not follow the bell-shaped curve. And I'll show you why later on in the week. I don't have time to show you right now. But these are 4 huge concepts when it comes to statistics. The concept of random sample. So when somebody gives you something, is that really a random sample? When somebody gives you some data, is that correlational or is it cause and effect? A lot of times it's just correlational. It's not cause and effect at all. Okay? The concept of the averages, the mean, the median, the mode. The mode just means the most popular score or the most popular piece of data. So we're going to talk about that on Wednesday. And then the bell-shaped curve, we'll talk more about that on Friday. And some of the things that are, the fancy word is Gaussian, which means it follows the bell-shaped curve, or Mandelbrodian, which means it doesn't follow the bell-shaped curve. Well, that's your intro for statistics. You got to be very careful. All right. Graphs. Various types of graphs. Let's add that to your huge concept. You can actually distort graphs, very much so, and your author talks a little bit about that in 5.1 of how you can distort graphs. Now, one of the ways, we'll come back to the bell-shaped curve and stuff like that later in the week, like on Friday especially. But one of the things that you can do about graphs, this is actually another very, very important concept. So you can add it. So now you have 5 huge concepts when it comes to statistics. But graphs, if I draw a graph like this, All right, so here's a graph. And let's say I'm using a bar graph. Okay, so there's a bar like that, and here's a bar like that, and here's a bar like this, and here's a bar like that, and here's a bar like that. Now, just the visual impact of this particular graph, it makes this look over twice as big as that, doesn't it? It looks over twice as big. Here's the part where you gotta be careful. Does this start at 0? Okay? This starts at 0. Does it start at 0? Because a lot of times on a graph, in fact, I'll give you extra credit for graphs that you can find that are distorted. We're going to go over that a little bit this week too, distorted graphs. So if this is consumption of, let's say, milk by various people. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. This is consumption of milk in one day. Well, these 5 people, well, maybe this started right here at 16 ounces, because even this person, well, let's say it started at 15 ounces. This person right over here, they drank 2 cups of milk in one day, even that person did. And let's just say it's not a random sample. And this person up in here, so 30 is up here. Because this person actually drank 4 cups of milk in one day. Well, now, from the visual, see, this person actually drank right in here probably around, let's just guess, 27 ounces. And this person down here drank only 16 ounces. Here's the point. From the visual graph, it looks like this person drank 5 times as much. It looks like this person drank 5 times as much as this person over here. It's not true. They didn't even drink twice as much. So that is going to be a huge concept of graphs and how you can distort graphs. We're almost out of time, so I got to hurry. So your assignment, read through this carefully. You know me, I don't like to read the book to you. Your assignment is 5-1, the practice quiz, and 5-1A, the extra practice quiz. Most of you are doing an awesome job about keeping up on your homework, so keep doing it. But the first section is fairly easy. It's just about various graphs. You can have bar graphs, you can have circle graphs. We'll go over those a little bit if you need to more on Wednesday. You guys did awesome today, as usual. So I appreciate you guys very much, and you have a wonderful day.